Good evening. I'm John Burns, coming to you from my music room in Johnston, Iowa, playing tonight for the Extended Dream Foundation and Uptown Bills. Looking forward to the day that I can come back and play at Uptown Bills in Iowa City. Here's my song I wrote 6 years ago about Bill Sackter. La 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 la. Grab a cup, quarter each, let's settle up. Talk about my trip to Hollywood. Mickey Rooney, Dennis Quaid, the story of my early days. The early days when life was not that good. He'll tell you there's just one way out of Faribault Sea. Barry said he'll come with me, and I never walk back through those walls again. So buddy, that's my life. Let's reconvene downtown tonight, and I'll play my heart for you and all our friends. La la la. I'd rather not get into this, cause all it is 44 lost years. They'll tell you there's just one way out of Faribault, Tom. Barry tells me that's just wrong. Barry ought to know, cause here I am, making coffee, playing blues, hanging out with folks like you. I'm a fairly independent man. Hey buddy, grab a cup, order each, let's settle up. Once you've had enough, I'll shake your hand. La 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 Hey buddy, name of that song I wrote about Bill Sackter. Actually, when I played quite a few times at Uptown Bills and Dubuque Street in Iowa City. 2 or 3 times a year for about the past 7 years. And usually very often I was the one person in the room that had ever met Bill Sackter. I had classes in the social work department, and back when I was an undergrad at the University of Iowa, and there was Bill working in Uptown, Wild Bill's in North Hall when I was going in there to study. So I don't know that we were best friends. We weren't on each other's Christmas card lists or anything, but we ran into each other before he was a movie star. So we've all been through some stuff in the last year. Here's a song that I wrote at the very beginning of that whole ordeal. Somewhat naive song, actually, when you listen to the lyrics. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. I'm in quarantine. Funny how these 2 weeks feel like 3. Watching films that I've already seen. I'm in quarantine. Hope tonight I have a different dream. All my life I've been dreaming of a time can sit back and watch the hours fly. This is not that dream. Never dreamed of 14 days in quarantine. I get up, stretch, and walk the dog, but I don't leave the lot. Avoid whatever germs I haven't caught. Like that old man in the news, that Howard Hughes. I admit I wash my hands a lot. Come a day we'll be looking back on this, to the days we'll probably never miss. These early days of spring, living through these 14 days in quarantine. Living through through these 14 days in quarantine. Living through these 14 days in quarantine. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. 14 days in quarantine. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. Still the case over a year later. You know, that's what's so naive about that song. 14 days in quarantine. Come a day we'll be looking back on this, the early days of spring. Well, the early days of spring came and went. We had summer, we had fall, we had winter. And now we're back in the early days of spring all over again. Seems like there might be a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but we'll find out. Usually, you know, I'm not the guy that sits down and writes a song every time there's a natural disaster or anything like that, but I wrote that song, and generally, if I write something, that's it for the crisis. But the pandemic, that was worth more than one song, and there's several actually. This one came a little bit later. This one came in the summer last year. I think this showed a little bit more, a little more mature, I guess, look at what we've gone through. At that point, the 4 months that we've been plagued by this. When you venture outside in these perilous times, trying to get lucky on a Saturday night, it's not that often. When you do, it's awesome. But when you do, you gotta take precautions. Before I hook up with you, gotta lay down the rules. Are you available for takeout? Meet me at the curb. Wear a mask, take my temperature. You're gonna wanna wash your hands when you're through with me. Are you available for takeout? Not coming in. I don't wanna have to test again. Loving you can be a fatal disease. It's worse than the SARS that shut down the bars. Gotta know before you get in the car, there's no vaccination. It's spread the nation. I like you, but I got reservations. Before I accept your kiss, let's consider the risk. Are you available for takeout? Meet me at the curb. Wear a mask, take my temperature. You're gonna wanna wash your hands when you're through with me. Are you available for takeout? I'm not coming in. I don't wanna have to test again. Loving you can be a fatal disease. When the kids are asking how you met their daddy, he says, screw the 6 feet. It came right at me. The best is just revision is history. Are you available for takeout? Meet me at the curb. Wear a mask, take my temperature. You're gonna wanna wash your hands when you're through with me. Are you available for takeout? I'm not coming in. I don't want to have to test again. Loving you can be a fatal disease. Loving you can be a fatal disease. Loving you can be a fatal disease. Are you available for takeout? A little bit more, less naive view of the whole situation we were living through last year. Then there's this, this whole thing about everything that we've gone through in the last year, not just the pandemic, but the weather. You know, we had the derecho, the politics, the ugly politics, the people taking it to the streets, all that stuff. And my question is, how do you explain it to the kids? Well, I found mine some very troubled times. There are things that follow you for decades down the line. What to tell the kids? There is so much to learn from having lived through this. Watching buildings burn, and is it prudent to resist? Don't know what to tell the kids. Am I preparing them enough? Will they be damaged if I shelter them too much? Keep them out of touch, and is there really any rush to see the world the way it is? Well, I found mine some very troubled times. There are things that follow you for decades down the line. What to tell the kids when they come asking you how things could go like this? You tell them it's too soon, and please unclench those fists. Don't know what to tell the kids. Please unclench those fists. What to tell the kids? What to tell the kids? What to tell the kids? So, here we are now. We're at least back doing the live streams. We're doing shows for Uptown Bills. Can't wait to get back to playing to live people. Great audiences at Uptown Bill's coffee shop over the years. A great place to try out new stuff and to play the old stuff too for me. So, what can you do to help if you're inclined? Well, I'm sure in the emails and everything that go out with this live stream, I'm sure that the Extend the Dream Foundation will give you some ideas as to how to donate. I actually put together this little graphic. I don't know if it's backwards or not. When I do stuff on Facebook, it comes out backwards. This might be backwards, but if you want to send a donation to the Extend the Dream Foundation, it's P.O. Box 1525, Iowa City, 52244, and then there's a link to the PayPal account. Now, the PayPal, the link there goes on for like 5 or 6 lines. But all you really need to do is go to the Uptown Bills website, www.uptownbills.org, and there'll be a link to the donation page, and you can help out Uptown Bills. It's not just these shows, by the way. This is just part of it. I mean, what the Extend the Dream Foundation has been doing all through the years has been providing services to the disabled community around Iowa City in the spirit of Bill Sackter, in the memory of Bill Sackter. So, great work from them. Also, I have to mention KICI FM radio, KICI LP in Iowa City. All volunteer, but the other thing is that, I know of 2 radio stations in Iowa that religiously play local artists, play Iowa artists, and KICI is one of them. Every weekday from 11 to 1, you can hear the work of some of the great local artists, and me too, actually. They're very good about playing my CDs going back for 4 or 5 more years, and so usually, 2 or 3, 4, maybe sometimes 5 times a week you can hear me, but you can also hear Dave Moore and Greg Brown and Joe Price and all the greats, and then all the up and comers too. So we want to keep that going. We want to keep everything going with Uptown Bills and the Extend the Dream Foundation. So I can come back to Iowa City again. It was great for me, actually, because, I spent 8 years of my life in Iowa City. I accumulated a lot of friends. I accumulated a lot of experiences in Iowa City. And this is my chance to come home a little bit, a couple times a year. I have to say, I've been out now for 36 years. I've been here in the Des Moines area for 36 years. So there aren't so many people left that were there when I was there. But nevertheless, it's still one of my, probably if I have a second home, it would be Iowa City. Here's a song off last year's CD. The name of last year's CD was Badass Storm 2020. I may play the title song for that later on, based on the derecho. A lot of stuff happened last year. If you want a copy of Badass Storm 2020, just send me a message on my Facebook page, my music page, wherever you can get a link with my name on it, my email or whatever. Send me a message with your home address on it, and I'll mail you a copy of Badass Storm 2020. This is a song off there that has some, it came out of the newspapers, basically. Prince Harry and the better half went out and traded in a Cadillac, bought a condo on the cul-de-sac, 30 years to pay it down. Disillusioned with the palace life, I don't like the way they treat my wife. I tried to take it, but I'm not the type. So Dad, I'm handing in the crown. The Queen is telling me, think this out. The Queen should know what this is all about. I watched the way she pushed my mama out. That will not fly this time around. The Queen should know that I'm not my dad. I'm just like Mama. I guess that's bad. And if she don't like it, she can just stay mad. 'Cause I'm not backing down. The Queen is telling me you gotta learn. If you're a commoner, you gotta earn. That is your majesty a true concern, but it's not your business now. The Queen is telling me, watch your mouth. It's my decision what I care about. You're my subject, you won't act out in the presence of the crowd. The Queen Princess snorted and he flew the nest. Now Vancouver is the new address. The Queen of England is a real hot mess. Diana wins another round. Diana wins another round. Diana wins another round. You can tell that's not brand new, actually. You know, we're talking about Vancouver. Vancouver was some time ago, but that's kind of, you know, I think probably, you know, that Prince Harry and that Meghan Markle the wife. I think they heard this song actually because they started doing TV appearances and everything. Maybe to promote my CD. I'd like to think that. Reason I'm going to play this next song. The song is about the house that I grew up in. Actually, at the house, and we moved into that house. We moved out of it 13 years ago. We moved into it April 10th, 1965. So we moved into it 56 years ago today. And so, you know, we lived our whole life there. You know, growing up, my parents had it, like I say, until 13 years ago. So, because it's April 10th, I'm going to play this song. I play it on other days too, but when I play it on other days, you get a lot longer story than that. Tonight we grill our brats and beer. It's how we've always done it here. Warm April Sunday at the house. Dad tells that joke, it's getting old. I've heard it 3 weeks in a row. Tell it next Sunday at the house. At the house, the Sundays they fly, the holidays come. Then it's July, next thing you know, you put up a realty sign at the house. It's 1 month shy, 9 years old, took a drive down Ashworth Road, turned in the driveway of the house, wore out 3 fine baseball gloves. I saw high school and first love. Sometimes I still see her at the house. At the house, the Sundays they fly, the holidays come, then it's July. Next thing you know, they put up a realty sign at the house. I drifted out, then I returned. It was a bridge I couldn't burn. I left an anchor at the house. Tonight we grill on brats and beer. It's how we've always done it here. A warm April Sunday. Warm April Sunday at the house. At the house. That wrote that in 1991. Put it away. Forgot about it. Actually, forgot I'd even written it. And then after the parents moved out of the house 13 years ago, I went in to get the old piano that was just going to be trashed, and brought it out. Had it brought to my home here in Johnston, put it in the basement, and just started playing it. I hadn't played it for decades, and that song came out. So. Here's another one off of my new CD. I know you always hate it when you go to a concert and the guy's playing all the new stuff and you want to hear all the hits. You know, fortunately, I'm not burdened by that, so I can play the new stuff. This is kind of an example of kind of a songwriter exercise, because I set out to write a song. I sat down, started writing about the pelicans landing on the lake at Sayreville, north of here. They come by twice a year. They just fill the sky with pelicans. It's really amazing to watch. It just gets dark. It's like an eclipse. And then I started writing that. All of a sudden, the song morphed into something entirely different, about a young man who's father of a Vietnam veteran who's kind of been a nomad, who passes through town and just stops very briefly to visit him. And that's what this song ended up being about. Flocks of white pelicans darken the sky, touch down on the reservoir a week at a time. I got no idea where the white birds have been, but first week in April they'll fly back again. First time I learned that my dad was alive, he crashed at my place for a very brief night and told thousands of tales, one for each fading scar. Park benches, barracks, jails, they are what they are. He shows up at my door with a half ounce of weed. I say no thanks, you're a stranger to me. I tell the world that we lost you in Nam. He says if that's what you're saying, it wouldn't be wrong. Oh, I'm not a plant in the gardens of stone, just a stray pair of dog tags never sent home, he told. Thousands of tales, one for each fading scar. Park benches, barracks, and jails, they are what they are. He told thousands of tales, one for each fading scar. Park benches, barracks, and jails, they are what they are. Get the flocks of white pelicans twice every year. They're not inclined to be settling here. My father passed back here in spring '89. Today I don't know if he's dead or alive. He told thousands of tales of the storms he passed through. I don't know how many are true. Flocks of white pelicans. Again, that's off Badass Storm 2020. My 2020 CD actually is packed full of songs. 27 original songs by B. John Burns, all written in the 11 months preceding that. I always do one every year. Cover artwork by Sean Palak from Slater, Iowa. Sean's done like 6 of my album covers. This one is probably the most elaborate and the one that's gotten me the most attention. A lot of people say, John, you know, the cover art on your CDs is better than what's in them, and I have to say I can't argue with that. But anyway, that's a song from that CD. If you want a copy, just find my my email address or my Facebook page and just send me a message with your address on it, and I'll send one to your house or your office. Anywhere you want me to send it, anywhere in the world. I've sent them to Ireland. I sent them to Africa. Got lost. They got lost on the way to Africa. But you know, I've got people to watch these shows from Africa. I've got people to watch from Ireland and England and Australia and Canada and Iowa City This one, actually, I've got quite a few since. I released Badass Storm last November 4th. I've written quite a few new songs. This is the one I'm probably most proud of than any of them, really. This is a song I wanted to write for the last 20 years. 21 years ago on June 6th, I was at a seminar in New Orleans. I had my wife with me. And on June 6th, which I think was a Wednesday, I think we cut out, my boss and I cut out. We took my wife, we went down to the French Quarter to watch the World War II parade. They were having a World War II parade because it was June 6th, so it was the 56th, it was 2000, 56th anniversary of D-Day, and then 2000 was the 55th anniversary of the end of World War II. And they were doing a World War II parade that week in New Orleans because that day on June 6th, they were opening the World War II Museum in New Orleans. And the reason they had the World War II Museum in New Orleans is because this Higgins guy that invented the Higgins boat, the boat that all the young men landed on in France on D-Day when they crossed the English Channel and went to Normandy and Omaha Beach and everything. They were made by this Higgins guy, those amphibious landing crafts, and they made them in a plant in New Orleans. And so the parade essentially consisted of a whole procession of these Higgins boats, just all the way down the streets of the quarters, each one of them loaded to the gills with World War II veterans. And a lot of them were Medal of Honor winners. And in my whole life, before or after that, I don't think I've ever seen a Medal of Honor winner in person, unless I've been to a 4th of July parade and there was one in a car or something like that. But there were dozens of them that day. And as time goes on, 21 years later, I just can't help but think that, those guys that I saw that day 20 years ago, most of them are gone now. Back then, there were 16 million Americans that served overseas during World War II. At that point, over half of them were still alive when I saw them in 2000. 5 years ago, there was, I think, 2 million left. Last year, there were 300,000. I think 5 years from now, I think there's going to be like 30 or 40,000. And they expect to see the last one sometime in about 2040 or 2045, somewhere in that range. And actually, those are the estimates, and this whole COVID-19 thing may have really run roughshod on the World War II veterans. It's a tragedy. And the reason is, well, I don't even have to tell you why, but it's a tragedy because I grew up, and most of us at my age grew up surrounded by those guys, and we didn't even know it. Our bankers and our lawyers and our priests, our uncles, all the people, the guys that owned the hardware store, all of them were these heroes. These are the guys that went over as young men and went through living hell living. I mean, like no one could ever imagine. And they saved the world. They saved the world. And then they came back and they got married and they got careers. They started jobs that lasted for 60 years. They bought houses with mortgages. They raised kids, and they had long, productive, happy lives. How do you do that? How do you do that? And now we're losing them. And I just think that's a tragedy. And so I've been wanting to write this song ever since then. And what touched us off, I wrote this on November 11th, I think, whatever Veterans Day was. And on Veterans Day, everybody goes on the internet and on the social media, and they talk about, their dads, their granddads, all the people that served our country in different conflicts and everything, and their contributions to our country. And one of my good friends, a local drummer, was posting about his dad. His dad, and I had a granduncle, my mother's uncle was one of these guys too, that walked into the camps. My mother's uncle was in the OSS, which was like what the CIA is now, and they were the first Americans to walk into the camps. And there were Russians that had the same experience. And you see, when they did that, there were rumors that these places existed, but they didn't know for sure. And nobody knew how awful they were, how terribly awful these places were. I mean, there aren't words for how awful these places were. And these young men in their early 20s walked in and saw this stuff. The story that my mother's uncle told was that they went in and the first thing they went looking for the commandant of the camp, and they couldn't find him because he'd gone into town to hide, And so they went into town, they found the guy, and they lashed him to the hood of the Jeep and drove him back into the camp and essentially turned him loose. With the people that had lived there, and nobody ever knew what happened to him after that. And I don't really care, but that's what my mother's uncle experienced as a young man. In the song, there's a verse that talks about my mother's uncle Michael. It's not that guy, because in the song, the guy drinks himself to death in 1959. My great uncle Philip, he did not drink himself to death. He lived a long life. He died of old age. I think sometimes he wished he hadn't because he has a son on the Vietnam Wall. But anyway, song I've wanted to write for 20 years. I've written 5,000 songs. I think I'm probably as proud of this one as I am of probably anything I've ever written. See if I can get through it now. Favorite high school teacher, I was baptized by the preacher, who always held a sadness in his eye. My cranky Uncle Harold and his fishing buddy Clyde, they were heroes living ordinary lives. Heroes living ordinary lives. Growing up in Springfield, they were everywhere you went. I know that there's a story, but I haven't heard it yet. Something about D-Day and the Battle of the Bulge. There are tales you don't care to divulge. With the 35-year mortgage, it was all about the kids. Like the horrors of the past, we'll never find out where you live. You went off to save the world, you weren't even 22. Say it's just what any decent man would do. My favorite high school teacher, I was baptized by the preacher, who always held his sadness in his eye. My cranky Uncle Harold and his fishing buddy Clyde, they were heroes living ordinary lives. Heroes living ordinary lives. I tried to ask my dad what he was up to in the war. He said there's a lot I don't remember anymore. In the middle of the ocean where so many brothers fell, I don't want to go back to that hell. My mother's Uncle Michael, he was in the OSS. When he walked into a deck out, tried for decades to suppress, he came back and got through college in a struggle to forget. In 59 he drank himself to death. My favorite high school teacher, I was baptized by the preacher, who always held a sadness in his eye. My cranky Uncle Harold and his fishing buddy Clyde, they were heroes living ordinary lives. Heroes living ordinary lives. I reckon there's a handful still alive. Good sir didn't realize who they were until after we had died. My favorite high school teacher, I was baptized by the preacher, who always held a sadness in his eye. My cranky Uncle Harold and his fishing buddy Clyde, they were heroes living ordinary lives. Heroes living ordinary lives. My favorite high school teacher, I was baptized by the preacher, who always held a sadness in his eye. My cranky Uncle Harold and his fishing buddy Clyde, they were heroes living ordinary lives. Heroes living ordinary lives. Heroes living ordinary lives. Heroes living ordinary lives. I can't get through that. After I tell that story, I can't get through that song. Sometimes I play it, then I tell the story. It's easier that way. But like I say, that's the one I've always wanted to write. This one, kind of a different story actually. This one has to do with, it's called Long Lunch with Kwame Ture. You might remember back growing up, one of the civil rights leaders, one of the African American leaders, while he was in the United States, he was Stokely Carmichael, and he wasn't a pacifist like Dr. Martin Luther King. He was somewhat militant, and we were kind of taught as children that Stokely Carmichael was like a terrorist, and so we kind of thought of him that way. But he was a thinker actually. I mean, he had a whole political theory and everything, and ultimately grew disillusioned and left the country and spent his last 30 years in Ghana, I think, before he died over there. But one of the interesting, and I was just, because we just, it was over a month ago, we just finished Black History Month, and a lot of the new movies out and everything really focus on the civil rights struggle, even Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and The Five Bloods, and so many, Judas and the Black Messiah and the Trial of the Chicago 7 and everything. And so I was interested in a lot of these people, and specifically Stokely Carmichael. And there's one thing that he said, that the people that he disliked the most actually were the white liberals actually, that came to save them, basically make them free. And his line was, you can't give me my freedom, just stop taking it away. And I thought, well, that's a song. Moved down to Jackson, early '68. A soldier with the SDS. The war was on my plate. Ate a long lunch with Stokely and with Marion. About to leave the States, I said we should join forces, advancing the cause. Stokely said, don't tell me I'm not the leader that I was. I know the gesture is an earnest one, but I'm not buying it because I don't envy your privilege. You say you're here to save the day. Well, you don't give a man his freedom, you just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom, you just stop taking it away. He said, do what you came for, put an end to the war. Save the wealthy white boys' lives in the service of the Lord. But I don't need you as an ally, friend. It's my crucible, not yours. I don't envy your privilege. You say you're here to save the day. Well, you don't give a man his freedom, you just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom, you just stop taking it away. So he boarded a flight to West Africa, where 30 years later he died. And I tell the tale of a long lunch in Jackson, an offer abruptly declined. I don't envy your privilege. You say you're here to save the day. Well, you don't give a man his freedom, you just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom, you just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom, you just stop taking it away. So that's a long lunch with Kwame Ture. And by the way, I never use these capos, but I just, first of the year I bought one for a while. Since then, basically, all the guitar songs I've written, most of them that I've written since then, I've used a capo for. Expanding my horizons as a songwriter. So while we're on this kick, I don't know if we're on a kick, but I played a new song about civil rights. This one is off the CD Badass Storm 2020, so it's within the last year. It has to do. I was watching this documentary called "Take Me to the River," and it was about Stax Records, one of the record companies from Memphis back in the '60s, with the R&B, a lot of R&B and the blues players and everything like that down in Memphis, and a lot of great music came out of Stax Records. And one thing about Stax Records was that everybody that played there, the musicians, the session musicians, the writers, the singers, the producers, they all stayed at the Lorraine Hotel. And we all know about the Lorraine Hotel because we know what happened there on April 4th, 1968. But the reason everybody stayed there is because it was one place where everybody could stay. You didn't matter if you were black or white, you stayed at the Lorraine Hotel. So a lot of great creative talent stayed there. And there's a lot of stories about people like, different people finishing songs, working up songs in the hotel rooms, and then bringing them down to the recording studios and recording them. Thunder and Lightning by Steve Cropper, Midnight Hour by Steve Cropper. I know he co-wrote those songs, but he did his part of them in his room in the Lorraine Hotel. So, and then when Dr. King was assassinated at the Lorraine Hotel on April 4th, after that, very soon after that, things kind of died out, not especially at the Lorraine, and also in the studios, Sun and the Stax Records and everything, partially because of the whole change in I guess the whole change in atmosphere after Dr. King's assassination. So the question that comes into my mind was that night, April 6th. Who is 4 doors down? Who is in room 302? Maybe it was a songwriter or a musician, and that's what this is about. I want to blast you out. A session at Stax Records back in early '68. Took a room in Walter Bailey's place. They served a decent home cooked plate. The same room that Steve Cropper wrote in the Midnight Hour. And thunder, lightning, the way you love me is frightening. I'll try to tap into that power. The kids can use the swim pool at the sweet Lorraine Hotel. As I work up a couple tunes, hope there's something I can sell. Go to Memphis for the barbecue to play them Delta blues. The kids are watching old cartoons up in guest room 302. 4 doors down, guest room 302. alone there in the room, strumming on the old Les Paul, trying to fix a tune. Down at Ernestine and Hazel's, the kids are eating out. Then one shot, two shots, the floor is crawling with street cops. No telling just what that's about. The kids can use the swim pool at the Sweet Lorraine Hotel. As I work up a couple tunes, hope there's something I can sell. Go to Memphis to the barbecue to play them Delta blues. The kids are watching old cartoons up in guest room 302, 4 doors down in guest room 302. They canceled all the sessions for 6 days after that. Settled up with Walter Bailey, made the long drive back. You see, the sun don't always smile down in a good man with a dream. It's tragic, it's senseless, a Thursday evening in Memphis. And I was 8 yards from that scene. The kids can use the swim pool at the Sweet Lorraine Hotel. As I work up a couple tunes, hope there's something I can sell. We go to Memphis to the barbecue to play them Delta blues. The kids are watching old cartoons up in guest room 302, 4 doors down in guest room 302. The kids can use the swim pool at the Sweet Lorraine Hotel. As I work up a couple tunes, hope there's something I can sell. We go to Memphis to the barbecue to play them Delta blues. The kids are watching old cartoons up in guest room 302, 4 doors down in guest room 302. Guest room 302, 4 doors down in guest room 302. Guest room 302, 4 doors down in guest room 302. Guest room 302, 4 doors down. What was going on that night? Okay, this song, I had to remember how it goes. This is another new one. Actually, this is the first song I wrote after I finished Badass Storm 2020. So it'll be on the next year's CD, along with the Heroes that Living Ordinary Lives about the World War II veterans, and The Long Lunch with Kwame Ture. And then this one will be on the new CD as well. And this one, I wrote it, I finished the CD, I got it done the day after Election Day, and I happened to write this song that day, on the day after Election Day, and you can decide for yourself what it's about. You remember Election Day? Remember Election Day? Remember what went on? Yeah. After 155 years, someone explain what transpired here. Was anything resolved? Anything at all? I see the shadows in the park shooting back over the wall, and they're still counting the bodies at Bull Run. Can we finally confirm that the war is won? Will they ever get done counting the bodies at Bull Run? More than 500,000 dead. No one remembers what Lincoln said. He said, a house divided will not stand, and things are out of hand. Smoke is pouring from the flames, burning all across the land. And they're still counting the bodies at Bull Run. Can we finally confirm that the war is won? Will they ever get done counting the bodies at Bull Run? Well, you lost your brother in the war, and you're ashamed to admit what he gave it for. You said, it doesn't matter anymore. And they're still counting the bodies at Bull Run. Can we finally confirm that the war is won? Will they ever get done counting the bodies at Bull Run? Will they ever get done counting the bodies at Bull Run? Will they ever get done counting the bodies at Bull Run? Again, I'll let you decide what that one's about. Enough of the downers, though. If the equipment holds out, I'm shooting for a 90-minute set. We're over halfway through that now. So it's time to go to the highlight of my show. This is not a new song. This is, you're wondering, what the heck's going on with his hair? I wonder that myself. It's starting to fall out a lot, and so what's left, it's just going the wrong way. It's just kind of like, well, anyway, highlight of my show right now. I don't know why it's the highlight of my show. It's nothing complicated about it. Just a simple 12-bar blues shuffle. But for whatever reason, when I play this song, if I'm in a restaurant or something and people are walking by, they'll come in, they'll sit down, they'll listen, they'll think whatever, this guy's good because it's the highlight of my show. Whatever I play after that, they get up and leave because it's downhill all the way after this. Anyway, this is it. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, you can't tempt fate. Where have you been? Sad and lucky since 10:15, waiting for you, when just last month I watched all my dreams come true. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, you can't tempt fate. Don't say a word, 'cause I can't fall for a lie I haven't heard. Even from you, I just close my eyes and tell myself it's true. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, you can't tempt fate. I'm not so blind, but I wasn't born to be lonely all the time. Maybe it's true, I still keep smiling, but all my nights are blue. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying, I see the signal, but I still don't see the train. No, babe, I still don't see the train. My good sense tells me to stop and wait. My heart keeps saying,
highlight of my show, right there. You've stayed. Anybody who's still watching has made it to the highlight of my show. I always follow that one with a ballad, and it's usually this ballad. This is one I wrote back in 1978. Actually, I wrote it the morning after I saw Bruce Springsteen in concert the first time in Iowa City at Hampshire, by the way. It's got nothing to do with Bruce Springsteen. I just remember the date that I wrote it. And so this song is whatever it works out to be, 44 years old, 43 years old. Reaching inside for the me I didn't know, to close up old sores, open new doors, if only to capture a view from the outside, looking in. It was clear, it was fair, it was true. I saw nothing, I saw one thing, I saw you and the good you could do through the eyes of a fool. It was fair, it was true. It's a glass reflection of love so clear that the questions are gone and the answers appear. What I need, where to go, what to do, it all points to you. The dark days and the gray days are behind. I can't stand now, I can plan now that I find what I need, where to go, what to do, it all points to you. All points to you. 43 years old. I always say older than anybody in this house except for me. I don't know what house you're listening to it in, but probably. But here's one that's older. I'm going to play this one. You know, I've been writing songs now since September 1972, so 49 years I've been writing songs, and I think about 5,000 songs. I always say 3,000 to 5,000, but it's got to be getting up around 5,000 now. And of all the songs that I still play, this is the oldest one. And I wrote it in June 1975, just after I dropped out of the University of Iowa so I could be a rock star. Long stories with this song. I always say I could write a book about this song, and I honestly could. I'm not going to tell the long stories right now, but oldest song that I still play. And that's not entirely true, because I still do know in my head the oldest song I ever wrote, but I'm not going to play that today because it's terrible. But this song is 40, whatever the heck it is, 1975. So it's 40. You do the math. 46 years old. Ain't to no way I can get on a bus and take these blues to someplace I can do something for them back where I was giving them. Mother blues, don't you love your son? Mother blues, don't you love your son? You gotta help me run, got to help your son. Mother blues, don't you love your son? It had to come. Mother blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. Now don't you tell me I've been doing you wrong. I've been obedient to all your whims, your brutal desires. You can't say I've cheated you. Mother blues, I'll be just like you. Mother blues, I'll be just like you. Well, I'll be just like you. I'll be brutal too. like you. It had to come. Mother Blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. It had to come. Mother Blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. All that I needed was a ticket for home to find out all the pleasures I missed in this unfriendly city. Now I'll take one anywhere. Mother Blues, you mean you've just begun? Mother Blues, you mean you've just begun? Tell me what I've done. Don't you love your son? Mother Blues, don't you love your son? It had to come. Mother Blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run. Well, it had to come. Mother Blues, I'm your only son. I've been a very patient son. Help me run, help me run. Mother Blues, don't you love your son? The oldest song of the 5,000 I've written. It's the oldest one that I still play. It took me almost 3 years to come up with that one. A lot of bad songs, I guess. I wouldn't know them if I heard them on the street right now. That's an interesting thing about being a songwriter. You know, I write so many and I pick out the ones that I'm going to memorize and perform. And usually it's about 5 or 6 a year. Last year it was 27. And then I pick out the ones I'm going to record. And there was 27 on those 27 that I memorized last year. I play them all in my shows on Badass Storm 2020. And then there was another little CD I did for the neighborhood kids that had 5 songs on it. Then I had kind of a runoff CD of songs that in any other year would have gotten on my CD. But you know, the last year is my first full year as a full-time singer-songwriter. I don't have any other professional responsibilities other than to write songs now. So they're just coming out. They're just coming out. Anyway, 2/3 of the way through my show, more than that. And again, I want to thank Extend the Dream Foundation, Uptown Bills, for letting me do this. I'm looking forward to the day when I can actually come and play for you people live. And then hopefully, also to ask you, if you've got a chance, throw us a few dollars. You can mail it to the Extended Dream Foundation at Post Office Box 1525 in Iowa City, or you can go to their website, www.uptownbills.org, and there'll be a link for you to hit to donate to Uptown Bills, to the Extended Dream Foundation, all the good that they do for the local disabled community. Try to bring back, so they can get a physical place, so we can bring back the coffee shop and get some live music again for me and my good friends that play there, and then also to keep KICILP going so that we can be hearing our songs on the radio. There's nothing like hearing one of your songs on the radio. If you ever saw that movie, That Thing You Do, that scene where they're all doing different things in town, and all of a sudden their song comes on the radio and they're going crazy. You know, that's what it's like for me. It's happened a few times, and
makes it all worthwhile. You know, some people say it's the money, some people say it's the girls, you know, but it's hearing yourself on the radio. That's what it's really about. Another song off Badass Storm 2020. Gotta adjust the volume there. This is another COVID-inspired song. This is one that was going to go on the runoff CD, but I started liking it, so I decided to memorize it and use it in my shows, and it's on my CD now. And it's really kind of maybe the most honest of all my of all my COVID-19 songs. These are unsettled times, there's 10 of us here, I guess one's gonna die. I'm not gonna dwell if it's heaven or hell, I'll know by the end of the night. Had a pretty good run, my day in the sun, had me a complete bit of fun. Don't be asking me yet if I've got my regrets, I can just think of one. I'm not worried about dying, just scared that I won't see the ocean again. I was born on the coast, it's where I left most of my friends. This is the end, send my ashes to them. I lived through twisters and floods, been knee-deep in mud, lost 5 pints of blood. I always got through because each time I knew simply my time wasn't up. I try to summon up now, but the mind just goes blank, it's different somehow. Not singing a dirge, if it's my final words, it's one thing I gotta get out. I'm not worried about dying, just scared that I won't see the ocean again. I was born on the coast, it's where I left most of my friends. This is the end, send my ashes to them. Send my ashes to someone who's there at low tide, when west winds are blowing a similar mind. To a friend who can put them in flight. Worried about dying, just scared that I won't see the ocean again. I was born on the coast, it's where I left most of my friends. This is the end, send my ashes to them. I'm not worried about dying, just scared that I won't see the ocean again. I was born on the coast, it's where I left most of my friends. This is the end, send my ashes to them. This is the end, send my ashes to them. This is the end, send my ashes to them. If this is the end, send my ashes to them. Boy, that's a feel-good song of the afternoon or the evening, isn't it? But anyway, COVID-19, you can write stuff like that. Like on this one too, not COVID-19, but you wouldn't be able to know by listening to this song, but what this is about basically is over the summer, last summer, I was having a conversation on the social media with a friend of mine whose political leanings are different from mine. And this person was going on and on about, you know, his political leanings and the person he particularly supports. And my response was, well, I know a little something about hitching my cart to the wrong horse, because I've done that a few times in my life. And so after we got done conversing, I went out, took the dog outside, lashed her leash around my left leg so she could sit outdoors, and wrote this song. I know a little something about hitching my cart to the wrong horse. I know a little something about making that one wrong turn. I look like someone who could shine a light in the right direction on a cold, dark night, no doubt. I guess I haven't lived this long, having faced the problems as the time burns on. The way I did it was to muddle through, so any wisdom I impart to you is just wrong. I know a little something about hitching my cart to the wrong horse. I know a little something about making that one wrong turn. I know a little something about finding myself in a hole so narrow that you can't climb out. There's really just one way to learn. I know a little something about sounding sincere. That's why your dad would shoot me if he found you here. That's my basic concern. So that's off Badass Storm 2020, as is this next one. Just a little ballad. The reason I'm playing this little ballad is that the next song I want to play sounds a little bit like that one, so I wanted to break them up a little bit with a ballad. There hasn't been a day in my life that something you said didn't settle right. A view of myself didn't go through a deep, hard slide. When you told me you were calling it quits, I thought I got no chance of surviving this. I put up such a fight. Now you're back with your hat in your hand, so you're here to give me another chance. You're surprised when I say I don't want to dance. First you're angry, then you're very sad. You say you're the best love that I'll ever have. Our turbulent romance. I don't know what you honestly mean, but have you seen me since last July? I took the guitar and left everything else outside. There are one or two things that I'll never forget, but I'm not quite painted in the corner yet, just repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. First I was crushed by the weight of it all, doing anything in life without you involved, looking for a door through that huge brick wall. Then it dawned on me to head due south, had it in me to just walk right out. Issues were resolved. I don't know what you honestly mean, but have you seen me since last July? I took the guitar and left everything else outside. There are one or two things that I'll never forget, but I'm not quite painted in the corner yet, just repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. The next time that I get to a place that I realize I'm staring at a stranger's face, I'll have you in mind. I don't know what you honestly mean, but have you seen me since last July? I took the guitar and left everything else outside. There are one or two things that I'll never forget, but I'm not quite painted in the corner yet, just repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. Repositioning my life off of Badass Storm 2020. If you want a copy, just send me a private message with your mailing address on it, and I'll send it to you. This song, Iowa City, University of Iowa. This is about Ames, Ames, the Cyclones. Jack Trice Stadium. Who knows about Jack Trice? This is a song about Jack Trice. And I have to say, when I first wrote this song, I was a little bit sketchy about some of the factual details. And I did a little research and realized I'd gotten something wrong, so I changed it. Then I played it. And Tom Gilsonan, you know Tom Gilsonan, because he used to be the executive director there at Uptown Bills. He was watching and he corrected me again. So I made another correction. I don't know if my 65-year-old mind is able to keep that all in place or not, but I'll do my best to make this song factually accurate. They moved the Minnesota Stadium a dozen times again, and don't wash out the stain, don't assuage the pain. For 60 years, the Cyclone men did not play there again. Young Jack Trice paid a damn steep price, suited up to play. They killed Jack Trice that day. 90 seasons on, and they don't forget the day he came in a guest room at the Radisson Hotel. While the white boys grabbed a bite, scribbling out a letter to himself. The first real game of your life, gotta do this right. In a guest room at Phyllis Wheatley's house, the last solitary night, one solitary night. Trice that day. 90 seasons on, and they don't forget the name. The Gophers don't want that kind on their field. Bring that boy up here, we'll make him disappear. 8 October 1923. They shipped him back to AIDS, still bleeding from the game. Oh, the Gophers don't want that kind on their field. They made him pay. They made him pay. Young Jack Trice paid a damn steep price, suited up to play. They killed Jack Trice that day. 90 seasons on, and they don't forget the name. Young Jack Trice paid a damn steep price, suited up to play. They killed Jack Trice that day. 90 seasons on, and they don't forget the name. Young Jack Trice, whoa, 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 whoa. Young Jack Trice, whoa, whoa. And after all that, I messed up on that change, It wasn't the Radisson Hotel. I had changed it to the Curtis House Hotel. But as Tom pointed out to me, Curtis House is where the white players stayed, and Jack had to stay at Phyllis Wheatley's house, where she put up black people. Now the story of Jack Trice essentially is that he was the first African-American player on the Iowa State football team, and a lot of the other schools didn't have African-American football players, and they didn't want them coming to their schools. And in Minnesota especially, they told them if you bring an African-American player here, we'll kill him. And they brought him. They brought Jack Trice up to play, and they killed him. They killed him. He didn't die right there. They brought him back, as the song says, brought him back to Ames. He died 3 days later. And he had written a nice letter to himself, as I tried to say, in that verse I messed up. But, this is your first big game, and you've got to distinguish yourself. And he paved the way for other people. Drake University here in Des Moines had a player like that too, Johnny Bright. He didn't die. He went in. They broke his jaw or something like that. He went right back in. They broke some more bones, and he kept going in. He survived it, but there's this sad chapters in American history. Now we're not allowed to talk about that apparently in the grade schools, but we can talk about it. Can talk about it here. I think in the live streams. At least I haven't seen any legislation out of the Iowa legislature keeping me from talking about Jack Trice. So anyway, that's that. Do a little bell. That's off last year's CD. Form letter from a retired prostitute. Here's one of my favorite little ballads. I'm going to play this because I'm down to my last two songs. So I wrote this in 2016. Tonight when you lie down with him, try to tell me that it doesn't feel like sin. Try to tell me that you're comfortable with this. You could ever be accustomed to another lover's kiss. I won't be there to hear you lie, but I know you from that other place and time. Try to tell me that it's fine. You're together in the dark as they dig beneath the topsoil of your heart. Is he showing you the future you had planned? Does he realize that you're linked to a completely different man? Do you realize that yourself? Are you so drawn in by his status and his wealth? Try to tell me that it helps. Are you satisfied with choices made? Then my time ran out yesterday. Try to tell me you've moved on, and I should walk away. Hey, 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 hey. Tonight, when he drifts off to sleep, try to tell me that you don't revert to me. Try to tell me you're not dwelling on our years. Truly wish you never walked away from here. I'm not around to hear you lie, but I know you from another place and time. Try to tell me that it's fine. Try to tell me that it's fine. Try to tell me. So I'm down to my last song. Again, I want to thank Extend the Dream Foundation, Uptown Bills, for bringing me back. Always a pleasure to perform for them. More of a pleasure when I get to do it physically. And if you want to help us do it physically, send a few bucks to Uptown, the Extended Dream Foundation, Box 1525, Iowa City, Iowa, 52244, or go to their website, www.uptownbills.org, and hit the link to donate money. And you can help bring Uptown Bill's coffee shop back, so the entertainers like myself can see you face to face, which we're looking forward to that opportunity again when this awful pandemic is over. I hope you've all gotten through it. I hope you've all gotten your shots, and I hope that this is the end of the bad stuff and everything is good from here on out. As I say, it's not just Uptown Bill's coffee shop. It's KICILP radio, where you can listen to Iowa music from 11 to 1 every weekday, and then there's also some Iowa music, I think, on the weekends as well. But and it's really a privilege to be part of that as well, having my songs played by KICI. But even more importantly, it's the work that the Extend the Dream Foundation does with the disabled community in Iowa City, and that's irreplaceable, and in the spirit of old Bill Sackter. So it's an honor for me to be a part of that. Anyway, I'm going to close with this song. This is also off the CD. It's the last song on Badass Storm 2020. I wrote it and I realized this is my closing song, and it's been my closing song since then, and it'll probably be my closing song until I come up with something better. Thank you very much. I've been doing this for all of my life. It's the one thing I know, and it's brought me to a few hidden corners of the globe. Now I'm sailing into that stage in life, started taking it slow. But I still dream the dream, now I'll never let it go. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man, all I'm asking is to stand here. If you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hand. This Martin in my hands. On a little bench on 2nd and Grand sits a man with a horn. He's been playing there since almost a year I was born. To be a joke with my friend, I would wind up like him. Now I see him and I realize how lucky he's been. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man, all I'm asking is to stand here. If you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hands. Nothing for my health, I'm not acquiring great wealth. I go on because I owe it to myself. I'm not reaching for the stars, things will stay the way they are. But I keep plugging, oh, I may never get that far. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man, to stand here. If you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hands, I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man, all I'm asking is to stand here. If you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hands. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of the weekend. I appreciate your listening.